That's some good bread, Gem.
It's really good bread.
That's really good and definitely better than store-bought.
Absolutely. We just lost a soother. That's okay. It's been a long day. Hi bowl bakers. Because of quarantine, your guys' bread making skills are next level right now, which is absolutely fantastic. So I have a recipe for you that is a staple in your bread repertoire, and that is for white sandwich bread. The best thing about this, it's just 7 ingredients and they're all pantry staples. It's really easy to make. The recipe can be found on my website. So we're gonna start out in a nice large bowl. So the first thing that we're gonna do is get our all-purpose flour. So I'm using all-purpose flour for this. If you want to use bread flour, you can. You just might need a little bit extra water. But for this bread, I find that all-purpose flour works just fine. Now let's talk sugar. We need a little bit of sugar in our bread because the yeast feeds on sugar and it needs it to grow. So put a little bit of sugar in there. Nice. Next up, salt. Salt is super important in bread making, especially in this one. So you want to be generous with your salt. Okay, so like I mentioned, this is a yeasted dough. I keep my yeast in the fridge because it keeps it fresher for longer. Now I use instant dried yeast. If you use active dried yeast, you can do that, but you're gonna have to add it into the liquid. So back into the fridge. Now we're going to just give these a quick mix together, just to mix them all up. Try not to get too much flour everywhere. Okay, so those are our dry ingredients. Now let's talk wet. Here I have a little bit of warmed water. Into this, I'm going to add in an egg, which makes this bread nice and rich. If you don't eat eggs, you can leave it out, but it does make a difference. And then we're going to add in a little bit of melted butter. Also adds flavor and texture. And it just makes for kind of like a different crumb. This isn't an airy bread, it's kind of a close crumb bread. There you go, it's that simple. Now all we have to do is add our wet into our dry. My rule of thumb is you don't add in all the liquid at once, you just hold a little bit back, just in case you don't need it all. So with this kind of a recipe with bread doughs, I like to just go for it and get stuck in with my hands, because it's just easier. And as you can see, there's a few little dry bits, but I'm just gonna keep on kneading and I think that'll work its way in. If you find that you need a little bit more water, add a tablespoon or 2 more, that is totally fine. Knead and then see how you're doing. So the beauty of this recipe, as you can see, is that I'm making it all by hand. You don't need a stand mixer. I think that's really important, especially for such a basic bread like this. No special equipment, 7 ingredients, super easy. Look at that. So you know my rule about bread making, a nice clean bowl and a ball of dough. So this is awesome. So what we're gonna do is get a tiny bit of flour. And go easy with the flour when you're doing this because you really don't need that much. And then just knead it on the countertop for around 5 minutes, doesn't take long. With kneading, you kind of get into a rhythm and you kind of bring the bread in towards the center and move it at the same time. And just do it until it's nice and smooth and you can feel it kind of toughen up.
Gemma, how's it going in here?
Good, how are you guys?
Is your little man learning bread techniques?
I'm making the dough.
I love it, yeah, you are. You should do a video on kneading.
I actually should do a video on kneading, that's a good idea.
We could do that?
Yeah, because it's important technique. We'll do that, will you help?
Yeah, let us know if you want to see one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'll let you be.
You come back for sandwiches?
Of course.
Yeah, okay, I'll see you later.
All right.
Bye-bye. So there's my bread, nice and smooth. Now I'm gonna put it back into my bowl, but before I do, I'm just gonna put a little bit of olive oil in here. Take my dough and just swirl it around. And what this does is that when your bread is proofing, it helps it just glide up the side, makes it nice and greasy rather than like struggling to get up there. So there we go. Now, to reduce my use of cling wrap, this is my new idea. I'm going to use a shower cap. You can get them in your local Walgreens, local pharmacy, whatever it is. They're fantastic because they're reusable and they're also like a plastic. They're really tight. No air is getting in at your dough and that is super important. So a shower cap will do the job just right. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let this brew for around an hour and a half until it like doubles in size, gets nice and big, and then we're ready to rock and roll. So it's been an hour and a half. Have a little peeky in here, look at that. It's gotten lovely and big. It's really bubbly. It smells yummy. It smells really yeasty. So I'm just going to turn this out onto my table, onto my wooden block. I'm going to keep my shower cap for later. And then all you want to do is just divide this as evenly as you can into 2 loaves. That's the good thing about this recipe as well. It makes 2 big loaves. So these are roughly going to be around 15 ounces each. And all you want to do is maybe just get a tiny bit of flour. Just a little bit of flour. And we're just going to shape them into loaves. So you can kind of make a sausage kind of a shape. And then just really simple. Now, to the contrary of what you're kind of led to believe, you don't actually want too much flour on your surface when you're rolling bread because it can make it quite difficult to actually roll. So just do a tiny little bit of flour. There we go. Nice big sausage, like I said. Gorgeous. Those are looking good, nice and even. Into our loaf pans. You can also do this like freeform, but I like the loaf pans. Into our loaf pans. Nice little sausage. Loaf pans are 9 by 5. There we go. In they go. Now we are going to leave them again to proof. Shower cap back on. That's why it's great, because it's reusable. You can have it for a very long time. Now we're going to let this proof at room temperature. If your kitchen's nice and warm, that's even better, for around 45 minutes to an hour until the bread rises up a lot and gets nice and big. So we're going to come back to it in a minute. So it's been around an hour and they've risen up really nicely and they're nice and puffy. They're almost to the top of the pan. So just before they go into the oven, I like to glaze them with a little bit of egg wash, just because it makes the crust a really lovely golden brown. It's a nice little added touch. And just do that carefully. Okay, that's it. No more hanging around. Let's get these beautiful loaves of bread into the oven. So here's my bread, still warm, absolutely smells amazing. I let it cool down for around 20 minutes or so because it's always better if you let bread cool down. And I'm just gonna take one loaf here and I'm gonna give it a slice. It's crispy on top and it's soft in the middle, and that's exactly the way you want it to be. One of the good things about this bread is that it'll stay soft for around 3 days or so, and also it freezes really well. So all that's left to do is to make a nice big sandwich. Kevin, come on in. Ta-da.
That's some good timing.
So, better than store-bought.
Sure is.
Oh, it's delicious.
Super soft bread. Really awesome crust. Gem, you did it again?
Nailed it. In a good way.
Exactly.
Okay. Hope you guys try this recipe, and we'll see you back here again really soon.
See you guys soon.
It's yummy.